Beavs kick off the season with Sacramento State at Reser Stadium. The Hornets are coming off the program's first winning season in 10 years and are ready to sting again. Phil Milani has more on OSU's season opener.
A team playing with nothing to lose can be dangerous. When Sacramento State comes to Reser Stadium, they'll be playing with house money.
We're both football teams, and we're both out there to execute our plays, and we're just gonna go out there and battle it out, and whatever happens, happens.
We're going in there 100%, guns blazing.
In Marshall Spurbeck's 5th season at the helm, the Hornets returned 17 starters from a team that went 6-5 last season and lost 4 games by a total of 11 points.
I'd like to hope that this year we can build off that, having been in those situations, and really come back and have that breakout season.
The Beavers are expected to be without James Rogers and several other weapons on offense, but they're determined to not get caught off guard.
They're very, very aggressive defensively. I've seen them play defensively, and they, especially if they're having success, they'll come with the kitchen sink.
The kitchen sink and house money. A scary combination for the Hornets, who hope to contend in the Big Sky Conference.
I think the number one thing is that we go in and we represent ourselves in a good way, and we play to the best of our ability. I think if we can do that, I think we can walk away from the game regardless of the outcome and feel pretty good about ourselves.
For Inside the Pack, I'm Phil Milani.
Phil, thanks. After that opener with Sac State, the big non-conference road game in Madison, September 10th with the Badgers at Camp Randall. That's been a chance to heal up from Wisconsin. 14 days until UCLA visits Reser. Then back-to-back weeks with the Desert Schools in Tempe with the Devils, back home with the Wildcats, a non-conference game to Provo and BYU.
No trip to Pullman this year. The Cougars will meet the Beavs at CenturyLink Field in downtown Seattle. October finishes up that trip to SLC. November then opens up Andrew Luck paying his last visit to Corvallis. Oregon State won't be going to Berkeley, but rather San Francisco, the home of the world champion Giants, at AT&T Park to meet Cal. Memorial Stadium getting a facelift. We'll talk about that in a little bit. The final 2 games of the week back home in the state of Oregon. Dad's weekend, senior day with the Huskies, then to Autzen for that Civil War. Perhaps the winner maybe playing to see if they can play in that Pac-12 title game. We certainly shall see. Several injuries at key positions. The Beavers offense will certainly rely heavily on junior quarterback Ryan Katz to move the ball. Phil Milani again now to explain why Katz can handle the pressure.
And Katz is down on play 1, hit by Casey Matthews on the blitz, and Katz is writhing.
A broken wrist, a Civil War defeat, and a losing season. Quarterback Ryan Katz is ready to move on.
Every day I feel like I got something to prove. Coming out here, getting this team ready. We had a disappointing season last year, and we're just looking to build on that.
Katz was held out of all spring scrimmages, but now the wrist is fully healed.
Everything's 100%.
With a year under his belt, Katz is ready to grow into the team's leader.
I won't expect any more from him than he will expect of himself. He has worked hard to get to this point. He's an easy, fun guy to work with because of his dedication, and I like it because he's talented.
With one of the strongest arms in the Pac-12, Katz will be asked to put points on the board, despite question marks at running back and about the health of his wide receivers.
It's unfortunate guys are unhealthy, but, it's just a time they got to get healthy, and, the guy behind them's got to step up until they get back.
After a disappointing 5-7 season in 2010, Oregon State's hopes of returning to a bowl game may ride on Katz's progression.
His biggest deal is just going to be to make better, faster decisions. That's it. He starts doing that, getting rid of the ball, knowing where to go with it faster. He's really going to take a jump up.
For Inside the Pack, I'm Phil Milani.
Katz completed 60% of his passes last year, throwing for 18 touchdowns, averaging roughly 200 yards per game.
Katz only threw 1 interception during his first 5 starts, but as the season went on, made more mistakes. He was picked off 3 times in losses to Oregon, Stanford, and Washington. We saw that a lot down the stretch. He has great touch deep downfield. Remember the TCU game? The Beavers, though, lost starting left guard Josh Andrews with a concussion in camp. Should be back for the opener, but the moral here, Katz needs better protection than he got a year ago when that Beaver O-line gave up 35 sacks.
So does that running game need some help, too? We talked about it with all these guys they have coming back there. What's the next link? You go from Simonton, you go to Steven Jackson,
Evanson
Bernard, and then DeQuiz. What's the next link in that change? And they think it might be Agnew here.
The South Division of the new Pac-12 is essentially a 5-team race as the USC Trojans serve their final season of bowl ineligibility. Still to come on this preseason edition of Inside the Pack. Around the southern half of the Pac-12 where the heat is on, Rick Neuheisel in Westwood.
I'm at my alma mater. It's where I want to coach. I've got guys that I've recruited. They're all trying their hardest. We're going to do our best job ever coaching, and we're going to see what happens.
Plus, there's some rumbling coming from the Bay Area as California is in the middle of a monumental upgrade of their facilities. Inside the Pac, we'll be back.